let me find out. Did Labrie Graham try to stop Kendrick Lamar's Toronto or Canada shows from happening? I knew it. I knew it, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, now I got a video coming up after this about Pusha T and Travis Scott, and there's a whole video I'm going to react to it. That's why I got my billionaire boy on. I told you I'd have it on. I told you my closet decked out. But before we get into this, now I'm going to say allegedly because I'm just going to say that. But the sources are credible sources, and let's just get right into it. So, according to, and I got to say all the, what's it called? We need an ISO cam for this. I got to say all the sources and how they, Oh, by the way, me and Mick Jenkins' song Tears is almost to 100,000 views. Go watch that after this. Stay tuned for my next video about pushing Travis. You do not want to miss it. So, the Twitter page Oklamas Morale posted this article about Drake trying to cancel Kendrick's shows. Bro, these Toronto shows, I tried to tell you these Canada shows were like a whole nother diss track. Like, they hit like a whole nother diss track. Low-key, Drake took a worst L after the show. So, the people that made this article is Anscape.com. Anscape.com is owned by ESPN. So, this is ESPN ran thing, so that's the sources. And then also, let me say this before we get into this. Hold on. This is the writer right here, the writer of the article. The person, the Kendrick page said, this is literally owned by ESPN, by the way. If it's fake, I'll happily delete, which is why I'm saying allegedly. But we need a report on this. Hey, Justin, can you confirm if this article, if this according to sources part you wrote is accurate? And then here goes the writer of the article. I wouldn't write it if it didn't get the information from close to the Rogers Center. He got his information from people close to the Rogers Center. If it ultimately is proven to be inaccurate, then I will cross that bridge when it gets there. That's what journalists do, but I trust my sources highly. So that's why we're going in on this. That's why we're reading this. If it turns out to be not true, we'll cross that bridge when it gets there. But as of right now, all of the sources that have been checked have been verified. And let's get right into it. Now, I pulled up the whole article, and we're going to read. Oh, my God. Nah, bro. This is... And it makes sense because Drake was trying to cancel all the TDE shows. He was doing that. Like, this isn't the first person who said this. Y'all remember Sir, right? Was it Sir and then Schoolboy Q? Yeah, so I'm believing this. No, it didn't work for Kendrick, though. He said, according to sources, attempts by Drake's camp to have both tour shows canceled or postponed allegedly took place in hopes of booking OVO Fest. I be trying to tell, bro. And I get it. A part of me gets it, right? I'm going to do whatever I can so my ops can't eat in my city. Cool. If I said I'm the mayor, I run the six, I'm the biggest sixer, all that, and you come out and do 2 sold-out shows and have a stadium that I've never performed in, I never sold out, and maybe I performed but not headline, I never sold out, I've never had a show myself in, it's going to look real crazy. You have Canadian politicians popping up, I'm going to look real crazy, which is why Kendrick going to Toronto is actually potent, more potent than some of the diss tracks. I'm going to keep it tall because what he did was strip away the whole I'm the king of the six. You can't come to the six. He could still be run the six, king of the six. But one thing he can't say is y'all boys can't come over here. Y'all scared of the six. That was stuff you were saying. So now it look crazy. So I understand their team was probably spiraling before to try to get this. Come on, bro. The Karen strikes again. And I say Karen in jest. Like I say, I get it. I get like not trying to let him eat. But when this comes out and you failed, understand you about to take all the jokes. You about to take all the jokes. Understand that. Especially when you suing. However, by then paperwork with the Rogers Center had already been filed. and no other venue in the city could hold the same capacity. They said no other place in this city can hold the essence that Kendrick is bringing, bro. We need it, yeah, 2 nights. How many Canadians in total saw Kendrick Lamar in that last 48 in those 48 hours? I want to know the number, because that's insanity. I don't think that many Canadians have put eyes on Drake at the same time in a venue in 2 days. I don't think it's ever. Anyway, ultimately, the best that could happen was Stream with Kai Cenat, which also fell through. All of this makes sense. All of this stuff Drake has been doing has been stuff to try to take away momentum from Kendrick. It's all of that. I'm telling you that Kai Cenat stream was to try an attempt to be like, I'm streaming with Kai. Don't pay attention to this. It's the same thing with the Super Bowl. It's the same thing with Grammy. He's trying to take away momentum from Kendrick. He's trying to take away eyes from Kendrick, but he doesn't understand the Streisand effect. Somebody needs to explain the Streisand effect to Drizzy, because we almost need to call it the Aubrey effect. Because at this point, not suing to try to cover up Not Like Us and ending up being Not Like Us is a better example of the Streisand effect than whatever happened to Barbra Streisand. It's a better example. I'm gonna keep it to try to cover and subdue a song and then it ends up being the biggest song ever, basically, in hip hop is crazy, man. It's crazy. But and Drake needs to just leave shit alone because he's making it bigger. Though universally known in Toronto's sports circle for his close affiliation with the Raptors, Drake's relationship with the Blue Jays is cordial at best. Dang. Part of the 2011 Headlines video was filmed at the Rogers Center, and the artwork to his 2015 McMill disc back-to-back featured Blue Jays legend Joe Carter 1993 walk-off World Series home run. Oh, that is kind of ironic. You used them as a cover for your diss track that you were doing. It's so funny too because it's back-to-back. And all the stuff that people are complaining, the salty OVOs are complaining about, Not Like Us, he did with back-to-back. Showing up to Philly with police and all of that. It's ironic that now the Rogers Center is like, you think we supposed to miss out on 2 nights of sold-out Kendrick Lamar at this stadium? We supposed to miss out on this bread for what? For what, Crody? For what? I'm sure that's what they... For what, bro? What is you about to say that, even on some shallow stuff, what could you bring that's going to bring more money than 2 sold-out shows? Because if so, you would have been sold out the Rogers Center, right? You lived in Canada for how long? So clearly they were like, nigga, we just cordial, man. That's just, bring Kendrick. Outside of that, his presence at the Blue Jays game isn't well documented. Oh! So when the request came in, the team in the stadium didn't feel much need to try to honor it because it wasn't as if the bond was ever that strong to begin with. All of this is unraveling the myth of Drake being the most connected person, the most loved person. That's all I'm saying. Drake doesn't try to cancel this. Drake doesn't do the Kai Cenat stream. This doesn't come out. Drake can still feel the same way. Somebody needs to check his emotions. That's what's killing him after this battle. That's what's continuing to kill him. And let's keep it real. Drake dropped a song with 2 Mazza the other day. Nobody's talking about that song. Drake, this better not be an example of your cultural relevance in music. I don't think it is because it's a 2 Mazza song, but we could only use this. Drake's numbers ain't hitting the way they used to because he's doing features for so long. Like, that doesn't make sense. People telling me him and Party Next Door album didn't do that great or didn't do Drake numbers because Party was on it. But then it's like, but it didn't do the numbers that him and 21 did. Didn't do the numbers that him and Future did. Yeah, but Party Next Door is, yeah, but it's Drake. There used to be a time when Drake jumped on your record and that's what made it big. The Migos weren't the biggest rappers in the world when he jumped on Versace. Remember Look Alive? Black Boy JB wasn't the biggest rapper in the world when he jumped on. Like, what are y'all talking about? There used to be a thing called a Drake Stimmy, I thought. What happened to it? Now, people are saying the success of a song is dependent, basically what they're trying to say is more dependent on the other person than Drake, which if that's what you're trying to push now, crazy. So if you're saying a song failed because Tumaza that Drake was on, then you're saying Tumaza has more power than Drake. So that means the Drake fan saw that, I was like, I'm not listening. So, that Iceman album better hit crazy. Let's get one more. This brings everything back to Kendrick Lamar's performance and the obvious crescendo that was the ultimate middle finger to Drake in his own city. Damn. He ran through the litany of his catalog's greatest hits, in particular Humble and Money Trees, that reverberated around the stadium. Oh, they writing this like a Lord of the Rings novel. He was serenely. I'm assuming that's something with serenity. Serenely. I never knew that was a word. Almost eerily calm on stage. It could be because he understood the magnitude of each song and the lyrics' meaning. After all, his every step played out on the world stage. They writing this like Doctor Doom. Or it's because Lamar had done so many of these shows already that by that time he arrived in Toronto, understanding with the resonated with the crowd had already been established. Nevertheless, Lamar commanded with pristine strategy, mirrored his every move during his vicious haymaker volley with Drake. Ladies and gentlemen, how one person takes one L that keeps manifesting into more and more L's is insane. This should be an example to everybody out there, right? I be trying to teach. Learn how to take an L. Learn how to, when you're crushed completely, accept that you're crushed completely. It's hard to do. You don't got to come out and make a post like, I have been crushed ultimately and completely. I give up. I'm a bitch. You don't got to do that, right? In fact, you don't even got to stop trying to get your win. Just accept that you lost right now. Accept that you lost the battle and gear up to win the war. You understand me? But continuously jumping out the window, you fighting your ego and your emotions, nigga. You are not fighting. Speaking of Drake, you are now fighting your ego and emotions. You are no longer fighting Kendrick. You for the longest time you've been fighting yourself. When he said this is a forever life battle with yourself, that was true. Because at this point now, you're fighting your legacy. You're fighting your brand. You're fighting I gotta look a certain way. If I don't, da 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 da. And Kendrick is doing things to strip that away piece by piece by piece. I knew it. There'd be no way Kendrick tried to do this show without him. I believe this is true. It makes all the sense in the world. I'm still saying allegedly and all of that stuff, but if you ask me my opinion, I believe it. Because there's the evidence of him trying to block other TDE shows. There obviously he gonna try, and it makes sense. Like I said, at the end of the day, you could call him whatever. It makes sense. You ain't gonna diss me in my city where I claim to be the king, and then come to my city and eat. The only problem is I better be able to stop it if I'm claiming, because if I can't, I'm gonna look double crazy. So stay tuned. My next video, I will be reacting to the video clip that came out of Pusha T explaining that Travis Scott diss. I'm excited for that, so stay tuned. This is why I'm wearing this. Whew. 2 videos today.